Hi guys, and welcome back to another video from me, Evan. So today we are going to be talking about my top remaining 4 left on the Only Fools and Horses top 10 list for the 40th anniversary. So we'll get into it just a minute. Yes, now I do know that I did talk about the unlucky winner is mainly Rodney's story there, but I am just going to start that a little bit again because my camera died in the last part, so I kind of have to salvage the footage I have. So we're going to go going through this now. So I hope you'll enjoy the video. Please like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe, because I know I've got a lot of unsubscribers, that people who aren't subscribed yet. So please hit the notification bell. And I do know that 92% of you are not subscribed. So it would really help me if you did subscribe, and please consider subscribing, because that would be great. So I just need to get my camera lined up. It moves around all over the place. Sorry, the light's gone a bit funny there. I'll just think so. It's better now. Yes. So yeah, we're going to be going through that. The unlucky winner will be mentioned, and I will do a little draft on that. So now, what I have here on my little piece of paper, notes obviously, the unlucky winner is a story which I thoroughly enjoy. I always go back to it. Series 6, Episode 4, what a brilliant story that is, and I love how fun it is, and also the fact of Rodney pretending to be a 14-year-old, which I find is really funny, because he ends up meeting this girl, and she's a Bros fan, obviously, 80s, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and it's quite funny, and all the stuff they get onto. Now, this episode is sometimes mixed up with being a special, and it's not a special, but it does feel like a special, because you have Del Boy and Rodney going on holiday, very similar to one of my, which is higher up on the list. And yeah, so it features the Trotters not in their ordinary background, so not in Peckham. They're not in Peckham all the time, but just a few times they're in Peckham. So yeah, I do like the fact of how the story is shown, and I do love standout characters like Alan the hotel person, and Carmen. They're quite funny, but yeah, even though they're just generic people, really. So that's kind of what I like about that. Yeah, and I also do like the fact when Rodney's 14, is how the hell am I supposed to pretend to be 14? And I was like, this is quite funny. And very funny, like, how is he supposed to be 14 when he's literally, like, what, like 30 something? And yeah, well, I say 30 because we're not so sure about Rodney's age, but do a separate video on that if you want me to. And yeah, and yeah, so Rodney is kind of what I'd say an interesting character. Yeah, but before we just do that, I have got something to say. So we'll get into more stuff. 92% of you are not subscribed. So hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a thing. Please. Thank you. Let's continue with the video. So, what happens is Del Boy enters Rodney's painting, Marvel Archer at Dawn, into a painting competition designed from the ages of what, like 7 to about 16. That's kind of the age limit. And Rodney did a painting. Now, this painting called Marble Arch at Dawn, Rodney wrote on it, Rodney Trotter, age 14 and a half. And now, what they would usually think in this kind of stuff, because obviously Rodney Trotter, age 14 and a half, they would just immediately presume that that's Rodney's age. And Del knows that. But the thing is, Del didn't decide to tell him like any normal person would do, but then again, we are talking about Derek Trotter, and now Derek Trotter is a very interesting bloke. He's sometimes a bit crazy, but yeah. So what I can mainly say is the fact that Del Boy had obviously entered him into this competition, and this is no fault of Rodney, but he had to pretend to be a 14-year-old kid for an entire week. Now that's quite hard. And I do love the funny bit is when he meets some of the younger people and they're like, oh, do you like Ross? And all this sort of stuff. Which is actually quite funny and all that sort of stuff. And they're all like teenagers and things. And yeah, which is actually quite funny. And as he meets, there's this girl who is about 14 and she has a crush on him. And Trudy, I think her name is, and she has a crush on him, and it's quite funny. But obviously, it makes Cassandra jealous. I forgot to mention Cassandra's in this, and Cassandra has to pretend to be Rodney's stepmom. So yeah, and Del has to pretend to be his father. But I mean, to be honest, the age difference between them in real life and in the show is kind of drastic anyway. He literally could be his son anyway. So to be honest, yeah. So it's the main reason there. I feel like it's not like that story quite well, but the ending is probably most sad. Fact is, 1,000,000 pesetas they could have won if Del hadn't put Rodney's name on the winning ticket, and obviously they presume that Rodney's 14. Well, Alan does, Alan and Carmen. But when Alan's this is definitely the winning ticket, all right, but you can't claim a penny of this money. And then, oh, it says, no, I've got my student card on me. That says my date of birth on it. Rodney Trotter, born 2nd of November 1974. So obviously, Del adopted the passport and also all of his identification and changed it to 1984 instead of being in late 1950s. So, no. What do you do? Yeah, so moving swiftly on, just thought I might do a little bit here. Now, guys, this story is what you guys consider, and it's out of this series. Now, you guys probably know the episode I'm on about. And, yeah, to be honest, you probably do know the episode I'm on about. The episode in this series, or mini-series, or whatever you want to call this, yes, I'm talking about an episode which is in Series 9. And now, some of you probably don't like Series 9. I love Series 9. What a great series, to be honest. Last series, what a great way to end up of the Trotters. And then along came this episode, and now, to be honest, this episode, now you probably don't know, but this episode is like a crown jewelling episode. That's how high it is up in the list. Now, this was originally going to be number 2, but I kind of had to suffer and say that it couldn't be number 2. But this story had to be number 2, and it's also what you call the second in the Series 9 trilogy. So, what is it? Strangers on the Shore. Now, I've done a single episode review on this, which you can check out on my channel. So, check this episode review on the channel. You'll probably just see the thumbnail, will just probably be that. Yeah, so check out this video. I did do a full essay video about it if you want to go and see, where me just talking about it, tons and tons of information. Probably just been on it for about half an hour, just talking about Strangers on the Shore. Now that's quite fun. If you want to whip over, go to my channel, watch the video. And yeah, so Strangers on the Shore. Now, there's nothing I can really say more than what I've said in my main video. To be honest, Strangers on the Shore. Now, this kind of episode is it's the episode that came out in 2002. And Strangers on the Shore introduces us to a lot of stuff. And also introduces us to a lot of Uncle Albert's background, where he came from, what he did during the war specifically, rather than blowing up and doing all the usual stuff that you would expect Uncle Albert to have done. But now this is just great when you get to see what happened and what the people Uncle Albert met and do all that stuff. Yeah, so it's really great to see all the stuff that Albert Trotter did. But also, we get introduced to probably one of my favourite characters of all time. His name is Golly. You get introduced to Gary. Gary is probably one of the most funniest characters I think ever. Gary is a brilliant character. And yeah, I do love Gary's character, brilliant. But this, unfortunately, doesn't feature Gary actually on the box or anything. Shame, really, isn't it? Because I could have shown you. So, now, I'll just start off the story with a little bit like this, to be honest. I'll just put it there. Now, the episode starts in a reasonable way. It starts with Delboy and Rodney, just in their flat, the usual stuff, and all that sort of stuff. But Del goes to Boise and Marlene, starts cleaning for them, doing all their cars and picking them up and all that sort of stuff. And Del's been getting a bit bored, and then Boise's going to become a millionaire, and that makes Del probably really angry, probably just more than he's been before, because obviously losing the money, losing the big house, losing all that stuff, it really does probably pain on you, to be honest, becoming a millionaire and then losing it all, which I do think is a common trope to happen to people. But I'm not sure because I've never been a millionaire, so I wouldn't really know. And yeah, so I do love the fact that we get to see like all that, obviously, and then obviously Del goes over to France with Denzel and Rodney and Trigger, but Rodney didn't know about it, even though Rodney is now the managing director of Trotter's Independent Traders. Which I find is a little bit sad. Why doesn't Del just tell him openly that? It's because they have to go to Uncle Albert's reunion, and it's a shame that they don't get to go there. But I do feel like this would have been better if it was the funeral of Uncle Albert, partly because you have Del wearing all of Uncle Albert's medals, you get all the stuff with Uncle Albert, and you get to see one of his old friends who looks like he wouldn't have even been in war. Sorry about that, I just need to... Sorry, that was just outside noise. Sorry, just cars and whatnot. Someone was going a bit mad out there. And, yeah, so, more of a strong song for Uncle Albert then, more than anything. And I feel like that's really nice to remember Buster Merrifield, who was a very big part of the show and played Uncle Albert. And to be honest, Uncle Albert was a character, if he'd if he didn't work, the show probably would have died out, because after, Grandad left, it was kind of like, obviously, Leonard Pierce had died, what do we do? And then Uncle Albert came, and Uncle Albert was like a knight in shining armour, save for the show, to be honest. Just in the heat of it getting more popular, he turned up. And, yeah, so I'm kind of say, this is more of a legacy episode to Uncle Albert, more than anything. And, yeah. But I do love the character of Gary. Now, Gary is great. Gary is funny. And there was a big beefy man to guard me at night. And he smelled like onions. Sorry, that's a bit of a quote for the episode if you haven't seen it already. Please check it out. I've done a video on it. Just please click. And yeah, so yes. So then Delboy, Rodney, and Boysley go over to France to get the deal on the cars, and they bump into a man called Mr. Moon, and they turn out that his son is Gary. Now, and Gary is like a very interesting person. He's actually like a real like millionaire person. Rashid Bramoon, I think his name is in real life, or not real life, but in the show, because they just nicknamed him Gary because they said this is Rodney's friend. Like, I find that quite funny. And yeah, so that's what we kind of got out of that one. And then Boise and Delbo and Rodney get arrested, and then obviously Boise don't become a millionaire, which is actually kind of good. Now moving on to a story which I think is probably amazing, but not as amazing as number one, obviously. But it made it into the top 10, and you should be proud of it. And I suppose, as someone said in my comment section below, I think ages ago now, when I was talking about Miami Twice, he did say something about this episode, and he said it was one of his favourites, this guy in the comment section. But this is a story that he thought was amazing, and so do I. Now, the Jolly Boys outing we're going down to Margate, and that is exactly what this story is. They go down to Margate, they have all the things, and it's all brilliant. I like how the story goes, and it's just kind of nice fun. It's the first time all the cast have been together, actual mixing, going on trips and coaches. And also, we have another standout character here, Jevon. Now, to be honest, you guys probably don't know who Jevon is unless you're a massive Only Fools and Horses fan, like me. But yeah. So, Jevon is a very interesting character. Very good. He's an old mate of Rodney's, but he did appear in Series 6 before this. But I thought I might tad on that because I forgot to mention it when I was talking about Unlucky on it. Yes, so this character is, the whole episode is great. I love the Jolly Boys outing, what the Jolly Boys outing does, and who we have there, and like you get to see Alan, Mickey, Jevon, Denzel, Boise, Mike, Trigger, Sid, and Albert, Rodney, and Del. Now that is that's 11 people. 11 people you get to see there, and I presume there was a few others, just like background characters really, that were there as well. It's a bit shame that Leonard Pierce wasn't there, obviously, because he died many years before this. But I feel like if they'd done this in maybe Series 1, Series 2, or Series 3, or even like a Christmas special with him in it, it would have been brilliant. But this is 1989, so it was a way long time after Leonard Pierce unfortunately passed away. But I will keep on touching on that because I would have loved to see him in so many other scripts, and it's quite sad, really. Yes, so that is Jolly Boys outing, and now I just love that story. It's brilliant and brilliant. Moving on. Now, this is the last one, and now this last one I have got to say that this last one I think is really, really amazing. Now, have you ever heard of something about Miami and it being twice? Miami twice. Now, we are talking about Miami twice. And now, what can I say about Miami twice that hasn't been said already? Miami twice is on a video as well. Check that one out. Check Miami twice out. I love the way what it does with them. It puts Double and Rodney in the worst situation they could have ever hoped to have been just to get away from a wine deal. But I mean, to be honest, what the story sets up and what it does is probably just brilliant. The story is great, everything's great, and like I love the little sign on here saying no more of that Costello for us, brother, we're in the big time and all that sort of stuff. I love that, and it gives them, it puts them in the worst situation they could possibly ever have. Obviously, to get involved with the mafia, I think that's quite bad, even for Del. But I do like two Dels, quite funny. Obviously, Don Vincenzo Acchetti and Rico. But I do have a whole other video, so check them out if you want to. And yeah, I do love the way that it expands on their close togetherness as a brother, or half brothers, you know, Freddie Robdell. Yes, so that's kind of this story, and I do love the fact they go around America, and I do love the fact they have the run through the forests and everything, like the Everglades, and they see the crocodile and they sit down, the alligator at them, and they sit down and they like roars at them. I find that quite funny and very good, and yeah, I do just love the story so much, and please check out my single episode review. And I did speak about this episode when I met Boise and Marlene, which you can probably see as my channel's icon, actually, because this thing means a lot to me. So this is kind of the stuff I focus on this channel, really. Only Fools and Horses, and the big guy, Doctor Who. And yeah, so yeah, I just kind of have to say that Miami Twice is just amazing. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video, and please like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to get up to date with all my latest news and reviews. And I'll just see you in another video very soon, where I'll be talking about Galaxy 4, the new animation. So stay tuned for that, and